Hi, my name is Stephanie Bailey, and I will be telling the tale of The Princess and the Pea. It's one of my favorite Hans Christian Andersen tales from childhood, and it's still a favorite. I read several versions of the tale in preparation for this storytelling presentation, and I decided to retell it from the princess's point of view. So here we go. The Princess and the Pea. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a princess named Lucy, and one day she was traveling to visit her dearest cousin. Her cousin lived in a couple counties over, and the princess traveled all through the day and all through the night, and it rained and rained during her travels. And when it got too dark and too rainy to continue, she figured she better seek shelter for the night. So up ahead she saw a grand castle, and she figured that it looked pretty safe for her to stay there for the night, and she hoped that they would let her stay and get a good night's sleep before she traveled on to meet her cousin. So she got to the palace, and she knocked on the door and was introduced to the queen, and she told the queen her situation and asked if it would be okay for her to stay. And when the queen heard that she was a princess, the queen was more than happy to let her stay. And she said, "Of course you can stay, my dear. We would not want you traveling in this awful weather." So the queen sent the princess off to get warm clothes, and the queen went into the room and placed a tiny, teeny pea on the bottom mattress, under the mattress, and then she had all the maids gather all the mattresses from the castle and stack them one on top of the other. And when the princess came into the room and she saw all the mattresses stacked up high, she said, "Oh my, 20 mattresses! You are too kind, Queen. I am sure to have a good night's sleep tonight. Thank you." So she bid the queen good night, and she grabbed on to the ladder, and she climbed and climbed and climbed until she reached the top of the 20th mattress. And on the top of the 20th mattress was a pile of the softest of blankets she had ever seen or felt. So she laid down on the bed, and she closed her eyes, and she tried to get comfortable. Then after a second, she opened her eyes. She said, "This isn't as comfortable as I thought 20 mattresses would be." So that night she tossed and she turned, and she could not sleep. She tried counting sheep, she tried meditating, she tried everything, but nothing seemed to work. And that night she did not sleep a wink. So the next morning, as you can imagine, she just felt awful. When the queen came into her room and bid her good morning, the princess didn't want to lie, but she didn't want to be rude either. But she said, "I'm sorry, Queen. I did not sleep at all last night. I don't know what was wrong." And the queen, knowing that this meant that Lucy was a true princess, hugged Lucy tight, and she said, "Let me introduce you to my son, the prince. He's single." So the two met, the prince and the princess met, and they liked each other right away. And the prince said, "My, you have the greenest, most beautiful eyes in all the land, but they do look a little tired." So the queen and the prince and the princess had a good laugh. And several years later, Princess Lucy and the prince married, and Princess Lucy made the prince vow to find her the most comfortable bed in all the land. And the pea, they still have the pea that started it all. It's in a museum in the castle for all the castle visitors to see and learn how Princess Lucy met her prince. And that is a true story. The end. I hope you guys liked this retelling of The Princess and the Pea, and I thank you for listening.